Good evening and welcome to No Man's Land. My name is Nomad and welcome to the first video in my new series. I'm super excited about this. It's a totally new format for me. In the past I've made videos of me playing music in bands. I've had videos out there of me teaching martial arts classes, but this sort of sit and talk approach is very, very new to me. This last year has been something for all of us, I'm sure, and I'm no exception to this. In fact, I would go as far as to say that through several factors, my entire identity was stripped down, and I really had to reevaluate my life and where it was going and how it was going. I want to start off by saying that the biggest influence I have for making this video comes from an unlikely source, Cloe Roma of Roma Army. This summer I was listening to some videos, just started as funny videos that were suggested to me by YouTube, and I ended up finding some that were really profound and had a lot of depth to them. There was one in particular that I watched, and I wish I had taken note of which one it was, where Chloe was talking about the utilitarian upbringing of men and how we find value and self-worth in what we can accomplish, the jobs we have, the things we provide, the big heavy rocks we move from A to B. And that was huge for me. I decided to give myself a chance, and my New Year's resolution was that if 2020 wasn't the best year of my life, it would be the last year of my life. As you can imagine, 2020 was not the best year of my life. But I wanted to make this video just to talk about what I'm going through and what I went through, in hopes that anyone else who's having these feelings that I'm having and gone through these things that I've gone through will have hope and reach out for help when they need it, even though sometimes when I needed it, I didn't. I feel like my identity was really broken down in 3 steps. I was in a relationship for 7 years with a woman that I loved very much. I think you could probably say I loved her too much and made her life and her needs far too important. And when she decided that she didn't love me anymore and just walked away on Christmas Eve of 2019, that really broke me down. In our relationship, I had a lot of responsibilities, and I supported her in a lot of ways. And when I didn't have that, I really felt an emptiness. Of course, after that, COVID hit. I was the technical director for a theater that closed because we just aren't allowed to do shows anymore. So then I didn't have a job. Now I'm truly, truly blessed that I have some rental properties that pay my bills. You can see here I actually live in a tiny house. It's an old bread truck that I converted into my home. I've lived here for 2.5 years, and it's small. It's only 6.5 feet by 9 feet, but I've been here this is my 3rd winter, and it's tight and gets a little chilly sometimes, but it's a wonderful home that allows me to rent out my properties and have that income. So financially I wasn't struggling, but I had a lot of time on my hands. And then lastly, my daughter turned 18 and not only decided to move on, but decided she didn't want anything to do with me. I've had full custody ever since she was 4 years old. She went to court, changed her name, and just decided she didn't want any association with her family. I'm I have a feeling she'll come around, but that's where we are right now. So those three together, all in a span of about 3 months, really broke me down. And I did the only thing a nomad could do. I got in my truck and started driving. I couldn't sit still anymore. I couldn't do anything. As much as I love this little tiny house, it has no windows. And during the lockdown, when I couldn't work out and I couldn't go to the gym, this was eating away at me, and the depression that I've struggled with since I was a teenager was really starting to eat away. And I was having some thoughts that I needed to not have. So I went back on the road. I started driving, and in 4 months I drove about 20,000 miles and covered about 40 US states, and I did my best to do as much good as I could for other people, even when I didn't feel like doing good things for myself. I drove to Montana. I built a deck for my brother. I built him a shed, and I helped my sister-in-law in building her dance studio. She's a ballerina. I went all over the country, hung out with musician friends of mine, and basically everything I could to do good for myself, because I felt worthless. I felt like I had absolutely nothing to contribute, because the three things in my life that were most important, that gave me self-worth, were gone. That being said, I really hope that anyone who sees this can see that what I found is it's never as bad as I feel like it is. I believe that all emotions are just. All emotions are real, but they can be exaggerated. And that's how I felt when I was sitting here in the dark in this cave, and feeling sorry for myself and feeling like I was useless. Those feelings were real, but they were exaggerated. And when I got out on the road and I started talking to people about my problems, as uncomfortable as that is, I'm a pretty average American guy. I don't want to talk about my feelings. This here is about as uncomfortable as I can get, because I'm talking about my feelings with strangers. But I feel like my success in this year means that I need to pass on what I've learned, in hopes that someone else can learn. And the biggest thing is, ask for help when you need it. Those of us who are average guys who want to appear strong and want to appear like we don't need anything and we don't feel affected by our feelings and emotions, we're pretty good at it. And we're good at hiding it. So if we don't reach out, people will never know. The people that I talked to about my problems were shocked. They said they would have never thought that I would have those feelings or those thoughts, and that I would, I seemed so happy because I'm good at it. I'm good at selling happiness to others. But it's not in groups. It's not with people, with friends, with family that I struggle. It's when I'm alone and I can't escape my own thoughts. So all I can say is reach out, ask. I'll put my email in the description below. Reach out to me if you want. I'd recommend a healthcare professional, but whatever. Reach out to friends, reach out to family, reach out to me, and I'm sure any of us, anyone who picks up that phone, anyone who responds to that email, will absolutely do their best to show you what you have to live for. It's my hope that not all my videos are going to be this deep and this heavy. I do have some fun videos on music, especially musicians on a budget, that I'm planning on releasing also some self-sustainability, off-grid, fun things to build videos. It's my plan that this will be my last winter in this little metal box. As much as I love it, I'm done. I purchased some land across the country. It's my plan that I will be moving and building another cabin that will be more suitable to live in and also have room to set up my musical equipment, my keyboards, my guitars, amps, drums, all that. So I'm very, very excited for this next year. And I'll wrap this up and just say, live one day at a time. Don't worry about yesterday. Don't worry about tomorrow. Live for now. Ask for help when you need it. There's people out there that love you. Good night.